it's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again, still hard at graft with another view from the van. Looking forward though very much to this weekend's game at home at St James's Park against Brentford. A tricky opposition, a tough nut to crack, but one that I am confident that we will get the points against and build upon last weekend's victory to rack up the third win of the season. That's got to be the aim. That's got to be the message coming out from Eddie Howe. And with players finally coming back from injury, with a returning Alan Saint-Maximin as well, you've got to be confident. You've got to be buoyant if you're a Newcastle fan. More, no doubts about it. Brentford will not be looking forward to the journey up to the other end of the country to take us on. With our tails up, 4-1 victory down at Craven Cottage, and to be fair, it could have been 5, 6, 7 very, very easily. Again, we lead the stats, we lead the way. We've hit the post, the woodwork, the most out of any other club in the Premier League. That's us. So, a team with good possession stats, a team who are creating a lot of chances, getting a lot of shots off, and a lot of shots on target. And the old adage, yes, we have drawn some games early in the season, but if you keep buying the lottery ticket, eventually you may well win the lottery itself. And that's the adage, that's the ethos that Newcastle are taking. We're taking lots of shots, lots of bites out of the pie, and we're scoring goals. We're looking a lot more attacking, we're looking a lot more dangerous and a lot more hungry. And yeah, Brentford will have to be aware of that. And like I touched on before, they will not fancy the trip up to take us on, especially with the party atmosphere a year on from getting rid of that leech Mike Ashley and that useless twat Lee Charnley. It will be party atmosphere, it will be celebratory, the atmosphere on Tyneside and inside the ground. So yeah, I fully expect Newcastle to do the business, get a couple of goals, and to take the 3 points home basically. Now Newcastle sat 7th in the league as we go into this weekend's competition and round of fixtures. If we are to win, it will push us up a couple of places. There are a couple of fixtures where teams are playing each other, so it would be a fantastic time for us to get another 3 points on the board and really solidify that top half of the table momentum that we've got to keep the fine start of the season. Look, if it wasn't for VAR and bent referees and stuff like that, we could be looking at it still an undefeated start. The lads are clearly confident, they're clearly coached, they clearly have got a great tactical plan that they're working to, and on top of everything else, it's working. It is working. The football is so much better, and we're ready for this Brentford game. And as I touched on before, we're getting players back, and that is crucial. Through that sticky run, through that sticky patch, we were missing a few players, all in the same sort of area. But you've got John Joe, who's stepping up his recovery, which is fantastic news, to be honest. Bruno continues to be fit and available. A slight question mark about Big Joe. We'll see what he says in the press conference about that, but we know that Eddie Howe likes to play his cards very, very close to his chest. So we'll have to take what he says about Big Joe Linton with a little bit of pinch of salt. Apologies, the lights just all of a sudden deciding to go as I'm recording this. So yeah, we'll wait some news about Joe Linton. And then, the other news, Isaac, he's out on the grass, he is training, but I think this game's going to come too soon for him. But we have got the Saint back. Now, he's been missing for a month with a minor knock, as it was said at the time. But I'm over the moon and delighted because he, as I've said before, is a match winner. He's a game changer. He's a player who could produce magical moments and just, pull a goal out of the bag. You get a point, you get 3 points. He's a player who the opposition will put 1 or 2 players on and free up space for other players, and he's a big cog in the Newcastle machinery, as it were. So fantastic to have him back. Will he start? That's the major question. Will he change a winning team and a winning formula from last weekend going into this weekend's game, or will he put them on the bench and introduce them when it's hopefully going well for us? I've got a feeling he probably will want to sort of reward the lads who started the last game and who've done so much right in the last game. But with the likes of Joe Linton coming back to fitness, you would hope, with Saint-Maximin as well there and available, that's a lot of pressure on them lads in the shirt. And also as well, if the game isn't going too well, if we're not ahead, if it's a draw or we've fallen behind or whatever, certainly, you know, the opposition looking over and seeing Joe Linton and Alan Saint-Maximin coming on as substitutes has surely got to give them fucking sleepless nights at the, you know, for definite. Those are quality changes that we can then make. And you know, the bench hasn't looked great at times recently, so to see possibly the likes of the Saint and Joe Linton and co on the bench is a massive boost to that. I know there will be a lot of people saying you've got to take Jacob Murphy out, and he may well do so. You know, he's nothing more than a squad player for us, to be honest. But I don't know, I've just got a sneaking suspicion he will reward the lads who did so well for him last time out. And he wants that work ethic and that belief that if you work hard and you do the stuff, do the business, you'll keep your shirt, you'll keep your place. And it's a bit of a carrot, isn't it, an incentive for the players. So yeah, my hunch is he'll go for the same team, which, like I say, I know will piss a few off. I'm desperate to see Saint-Maximin back in. I personally would put the Saint in for Jacob Murphy, because I think Jacob Murphy, he's not great defensively, attackingly, doesn't really score any goals. So I would want to make that change in the team. But I can certainly understand the you know, a thought process of don't change a winning team. My other concern as well comes at left back, because we've got a left back on the bench, Matt Targett, and we're playing Dan Burn, who's a centre back at left back. And I think at home, where you're expected to have even more of the ball, bearing in mind it was like 65-ish% possession last time out. Do you want somebody who's naturally in that position, playing in that role and stuff? I would, but at the same time, again, it comes down to what I said on the last preview. The choice between Sven Botman and Dan Burn is so difficult. I think last time out it just sort of went, you know what, I can't choose between them, I can't split fucking hairs. So he went, both of them, I won't choose just one, I'll go for both of them. And both of them did start. And Dan Burn is certainly very assured on that left hand side, but he's not as natural going forward. He's not going to make burst and runs, he's not going to really put in crosses. He's more of a defensive option, a la Paul Dummett maybe of a couple of years ago. He can come in, he'll play left back, but will he get forward? You know, that sort of job. So yeah, big calls all over the park. Obviously, Trippier, he starts, Pope starts clearly in goal, and then into the middle, Fabian Schär, and one of the two players. Whoever misses out of Targett at left back, Dan Burn left back or centre back, and Sven Botman centre back. Whoever misses out of those positions can count themselves, in my book, extremely unlucky. But yeah, there's going to be rotation, there's no doubt about it, with games coming absolutely thick and fast all the time. So yeah, big call for Eddie to make. I'm sure he'll get it right. He'll have seen them train all week. He'd have looked at what their strengths and stuff are. And with Ivan Toney, again, he's going to be looking to get one over on his former side. He's very physical as well. So perhaps does that favour one or the other? Let me know down below in the comments what you think, how you would set that defence up, and who would be the unlucky one in that situation. Literally, it is so tight in amongst all of them. It's difficult to really work out what he's going to go for. It's also going to be difficult in midfield. You had Bruno, Willock and Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff obviously getting his first of the season in there. I thought Willock, who's played every game so far this season, has looked really good, really smart, and full of belief. It'll go a bit dark now, I do apologise. In there as well, Bruno starts. Of course, Bruno is probably the first name on the team sheet when he's fit and available, he's in there and he's got to start. So it's who do you play on either side? Again, do you reward the lads who did well last time out, or do you bring back Joe Linton? Joe Linton has been simply a revelation since he's gone into that fucking role. An absolute revelation in there. He's been a beast all over the place. The fans love him, and again with a party atmosphere, and the fans singing the songs and stuff about Joe Linton, about he's fucking brilliant. He only cost 40 million. Don't know if you're aware of that. Are you tempted to bring him back in? Again, my thought is he'll play the same team that did ever so well down in London last time out, and Joe Linton will continue on the bench, and he'll err on the side of caution. We know that Eddie Howe is cautious with regards to injuries and not wanting to risk people. Joe Linton is a huge player for this football club, and if there's even a 1% chance, he'll want to bench him or rest him or protect him in every which way that he can. So I've got a feeling Big Joe's going to be benched this weekend. I think that's the call that Eddie Howe will go with. The attacking positions are interesting. I've touched on them previously a little bit before. Miggy at the moment, look, he was under all sorts of pressure at the end of last season on about, will he be sold on and this, that and the other. He has been absolutely fantastic this season, and it seems to me that it's really, really this sort of situation with Grealish and stuff is, I don't know if it's focused his mind, sharpened his mind, where he's got a point to prove. I don't know, but whatever it is, he's been absolutely fantastic. You always get the 100% effort from Miggy. You always get all of that, determination and stuff. Sometimes a little bit of his decision making has been questionable from, some of the fans and stuff like that. But he will start this game, no doubt about it, on the back of a fantastic performance and a difference maker down at Craven Cottage. The first goal is absolutely fucking worldy. A special goal, and I was over the moon for him because I've always stuck up for Miggy. Always, all the way through, constantly, always been their champion, and just because of how he plays, the smile on his face, his determination, the pride in wearing the shirt, everything else, all the good stuff that he does. So I've always championed Miggy. On the other side, you let me know down below. I'm really interested on this one. Jacob Murphy continuing 2 games in a row, or will some changes be made? So yeah, you could put Saint-Maximin in there, but are you risking him after having a month off, throwing him in from the start? Or do you think, look, start him, get a good, 60 minutes from him, take him off and protect him after he's done the damage, after we've scored some goals, and after we've maybe a couple of goals to the good? Are you one who would start him and then bring him off, or would you protect him and use him if needed in the critical minutes, in the last sort of 30 to 40 minutes of the game or whatever that Eddie decides to bring him on? So there's 2 camps, there's 2 school of thoughts on that one. It's a difficult one, but I just honestly feel that he's going to reward Jacob Murphy for a decent performance. Yeah, he's always going to divide opinion, isn't he, Jacob Murphy? But yeah, I think he's going to get another start, to be honest, even though he's going to have Saint-Maximin breathing down his neck from the bench for that for that position, no doubt about it. And before too long, Saint-Maximin will be back in the team and playing week in and week out. And yeah, let's just hope he goes on a run now of regular game time, regular involvement. Look, if he wants to gate crash internationally, then he's got to do it. It's an uphill task for him to get in and gate crash the World Cup squad, but you just don't know. Put in good performances, score goals, have consistent creating of chances, and you just never ever know. Clearly, you would think that the French setup will be watching him like an absolute bloody hawk, despite the fact that they've got an abundance of riches. You can't tell me that Saint-Maximin isn't somewhere in the mind of someone in the French setup. Up top, it's quite easy, I think, that one. Callum Wilson will continue to play up top. You would imagine on the bench Chris Wood would be there again. He was protected against Fulham. Obviously he's had a bit of a whack to the ribs, caused himself a little bit of damage, but he was there in case of emergency. But luckily we don't really need him too much at the moment. Isaac is there or thereabouts. I don't think he'll be involved this weekend at all, but I can't wait to be able to see Callum Wilson up top, Isaac and Saint-Maximin playing before too long. And a lot of the talk this week has been about the fact that Callum Wilson will obviously celebrating and will be in a party mood himself after getting an extended contract. Yeah, after getting his new contract and stuff, he's spoken about the fact that he's been promised when he's fit and available, he will generally be the starting striker. And Isaac was brought in to play one of those attacking wide positions. He can play up top, he will be cover, he will be a different option there, but he can, and I think he's being looked at more for the the role sort of just in behind the striker, in the Jacob Murphy sort of role, filled in last week, or Miggy's side or whatever. So Callum Wilson, when fit and available, will start. He will be the main man. And yeah, again, a new contract, that's going to perk you up, isn't it? A few extra quid in the pay packet and stuff as well. Richly deserved for what he does, and the difference that he offers when he plays. We look an absolute different set of gravy. We really do. We look so much more better composed. We've got a focal point. And again, Callum Wilson come back in and did what he always does, and that's producing to score goals. And I still think it's probably going to be too little too late from Callum Wilson. I think it's just the injury side. I think if Callum Wilson had have stayed fit all this season so far, firing goals at his ratio of about 1 in 2, then he definitely would have to be on the flight to Qatar with England for the World Cup. I can't see it with Southgate, how he is, his favourites and so on and so forth. But Callum Wilson, look, at the end of the day, it's a case of fuck everybody else. For me, he's absolutely spot on for us. He's one of the best strikers that we've had in such a long time. And again, it's going to be about careful management of his body and it, the condition of it, and not picking up any daft, stupid injuries. So again, I expect him to start. I expect him to score, and I also expect to see him coming off in the second half. I don't think he'll be completing 90 minutes for the foreseeable, to be honest. And as more and more players get back, it's only going to get like that more and more often. But I think he just has to accept that he's not going to play every minute of every game, because I just don't think he can hack it physically, to be honest. And I love him to bits. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to see Isaac, him, fit, firing, Saint-Maximin, our full attacking force. We haven't seen that yet, and we're still 7th in the table and still doing really good this season. So with everybody back, fit, available, with a returning John Joe Shelby as well in the middle, coming into the mix very shortly. It's exciting times for Newcastle, and that's before we get to the middle of November and then the prolonged break and the transfer window, etc. And then whatever we can do over the course of the next transfer window to push us on. It could be a very interesting and productive time, and a great journey to be on as a Newcastle United fan, most certainly. So let me know your score predictions down below. I've got a feeling, I said before the Fulham game, we're due to give somebody a spanking. I think we're going to continue that on, and I've got a feeling something like a 3-0 sort of job. And that'll be more than happy, and a great way to mark a year on since the takeover. If you haven't already, check out, I did a takeover sort of review, went through what I thought and what it meant and everything else. That's on the channel. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, subscribe to Magpie 24/7. it does mean a heck of a lot. We are trying to push up towards the first 1,000 on the YouTube side of it, so I appreciate any help with doing that. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.